It kills me. Talk about persuasive. Really, I was on the fence about Trump, but then I decided to really listen to one of the great generational leaders of American pop culture. And the clenched fists at the end, that really drove it home. It looked like he was pressing a 2-pound weight in a Jenny Craig commercial.
Oh my God.
Look at it again. It's so cute. It's like he found out the restaurant serves Jell-O, or that he won a $10 scratch off, or he scored a cameo in Jersey Shore, or he had his first #2 in a week. Thank you, Fibercon. What a sad end for a great actor. He went from Raging Bull to this.
Robert De Niro just stumbled into the wrong roast, and Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly lit it up with verbal flamethrowers. Hollywood's angriest grandpa tried swinging, but got blindsided by facts, sarcasm, and espresso-charged fury. Imagine two media sharpshooters tag-teaming a guy who still thinks Taxi Driver trends on Netflix. Buckle up. This takedown has more twists than De Niro's eyebrows when someone mentions accountability. What they obliterated first. Let's just say it wasn't his career, it was his credibility.
The garbage outside today. Robert De Niro, officially sent by the Biden campaign, makes himself look like an idiot and reminds us why Trump is so popular.
It's so stupid. It was colossally stupid. If you're going to send somebody to go speak outside of the Trump trial, make it someone who's universally beloved, like a Michelle Obama. You know, she's not universally loved. She's not loved on the right. But I'm saying, like, at least within the left and the center left, and maybe even some center righties. Robert De Niro has gone so hard partisan over the past 8 years. He is like example number 1 of Trump derangement.
Robert De Niro once commanded the screen. Intense, unshakable, the man you never dared cross. That cold stare, the simmering silence, the slow, lethal monologue before cinematic vengeance. But those days are gone. Now he's just the guy ranting at pigeons in Central Park, shaking his fists at clouds, and wondering why the Oscars won't turn into a political town hall. The mob boss? Long retired.
I find that he's smartest when they drop his audio. But, you know, it's kind of sad because you can see, like, people who are stuck in some kind of, I don't know, derangement, they can't see it themselves. And they're not surrounded by people telling them that they have a problem. And they lack self-awareness because everybody either tells them they're wonderful or wants to sell them cocaine. So he has no clue what he's doing. And he's upset over the emotional nature. His anger is emotional about Trump. It's nothing.
Greg Gutfeld took one look at that transformation and said, "Nope, not letting this one slide." Because while De Niro's Taxi Driver performance aged like vintage wine, his real-life persona aged more like a meatball reheated and left baking in the sun. Gutfeld, never one to ignore a celebrity meltdown, saw the perfect target, a once revered actor turned rage machine, spewing sound bites and blindly swinging at anything that dares inhale red state oxygen. The legend became the lecture, and Gutfeld came ready.
Lawrence O'Donnell's 5 years younger than Trump. And Rachel Maddow's been dressing the same for 20 years, like Wally Cleaver. The same clothes. And the star of Dirty Grandpa, Robert De Niro, getting censored by The View after raging like a bull who saw a red MAGA hat.
It's not that Gutfeld dislikes actors. He just prefers them on set, not turning brunch into a political press conference, drenched in sweat and preaching to America about how to vote while their assistants quietly Google the capital of Vermont. Gutfeld's brand thrives on spotlighting the absurd gap between Hollywood's elite and everyday folks. And De Niro? He practically gift-wrapped himself, ranting about democracy, red in the face, while seemingly forgetting what state he's actually in.
Example number 1 of Trump derangement syndrome. He's one of those, I'm moving to Canada if he wins, and he's never going to leave the White House if he wins. We're going to have Trump forevermore. I mean, hello, I hate to break it to you because I realize you're advanced age too, Robert, but people die. So he will leave. One way or the other, he's going to go. And in the not too distant future, even if Trump says he shouldn't have to. But in any event, he didn't do that the last time, Paul. Can you really picture a scenario in which Trump is more determined to hold on to power than he was at the last time in 2020, you know, going into 2021? And what did he do ultimately? He left.
To Gutfeld, De Niro's latest antics aren't rebellion, they're self-parody. The legendary actor has drifted so far from any script that he's no longer portraying characters. He's inhabiting a cartoon version of himself. And because Greg hosts a nightly monologue with absolutely zero chill, he took the spectacle as an utterly engraved invitation to stage the roast De Niro never requested, but unquestionably deserved. Gutfeld dissected the phenomenon like a caffeine-fueled surgeon, cataloging every outburst, every black-tie temper seizure, every eyebrow permanently knitted into resistance formation. He depicted De Niro as a walking political Yelp review. 1 star, written entirely in caps lock. The man who once silenced rooms with a single lethal stare now can't finish a sentence without screaming over the phantom echo of a presidential tweet. Therein lies the comedy. Here's the actor who inherited Vito Corleone's mantle, yet he can't navigate a routine Q and A without detonating. Gutfeld pounced on each theatrical meltdown like complimentary dessert. Exaggeration wasn't necessary. De Niro supplied all the raw material. Every press appearance grew more unhinged. Every statement felt like the Constitution recited by a thoroughly sleep-deprived Broadway understudy hopped up on burnt espresso.
Kind of what Jesse said, but not really. You know, De Niro kind of represents Hollywood in the sense that they realize that they're losing influence with the public, and that's what's generating the emotional response. They've never felt less important.
It just doesn't it feel like 2016 again? Like we lived through that. Did they forget?
Gutfeld's stance is straightforward. If Robert De Niro insists on being resistance grandpa, fine, but don't be shocked when the crowd chuckles instead of applauds. Righteous fury, recycled ad nauseum, loses its edge. It turns to background hiss. Or worse, an aging actor auditioning for relevance in a room that changed the channel years ago. At the other end of the media spectrum, Megyn Kelly wasn't cracking up. She was splicing wires. While Greg lobbed custard pies, Megyn wielded a scalpel. No zingers, only slow, clinical dissection. She wasn't chasing laughs. She was conducting a credibility autopsy. Kelly regarded De Niro not as a buffoon, but as a cautionary exhibit. The slow implosion of gravitas. The man whose hushed threats once froze moviegoers now bellows bumper sticker slogans on cable hits, and Megyn brought receipts. She presented him as proof of celebrity inflation. Fame so overpressurized it forgets how it lifted off. Her critique was never personal. It was surgical. De Niro is addicted to his own trumpet blast of moral superiority, and Kelly, in her signature frostbite cadence, exposed how hollow the performance had become. The issue isn't that he's furious. Fury can be riveting. The issue is fury with no trajectory, no shading, just perpetually cranked volume. In that echo chamber, every shout reverberates, but none resonate, leaving only noise where art once lived.
Nothing at all, nothing redeemable in him. He's a sociopathic, psychopathic, malignant narcissist.
That could be tough for an actor to play such a hateful man. Someone like, I don't know, like Bernie Madoff, say. A guy who stole $65 billion from nuns and Holocaust survivors like Elie Wiesel and was sentenced to 150 years.
Megyn Kelly drew a bright line between real power and theatrical pretense. Once, De Niro's voice could hush an entire soundstage. Now it's the signal for everyone to glance at their phones and see if a fresh meme has dropped. Kelly highlighted the absurdity of a legacy built on disciplined method acting now reduced to frantic public flailing, as though louder volume magically sharpens ideas. To her, this wasn't activism, it was emotional cosplay, a Hollywood idol masquerading as a political sage. She pierced the veneer of toughness to reveal just how flimsy the posture had become. The man who once made fictional gangsters tremble now folds like a lawn chair at the sight of a campaign hat. Kelly wasn't mocking his filmography. She was questioning why an actor who once studied roles to the marrow can't be bothered to study the policies he's shouting about. Passion and pretense are not the same, she noted, and De Niro has slid fully into performative meltdown territory. Without missing a beat, Kelly reminded viewers what credibility actually looks like. Consistency, clarity, competence. In her view, De Niro's latest act lands somewhere between town crier and emotional street mime, loud, overwrought, and strangely applauded as brave. That, to Kelly, is the most ironic punchline of all.
Last night, an elderly, confused man went missing in New York. Luckily, a band of self-satisfied elitists found him babbling on the street, threw some pants on him, gave him a stage.
Oh my God.
I'm going to say one thing. Trump.
Picture Greg wielding a flamethrower of jokes and Megyn brandishing a surgeon's scalpel. One hurls napalm-grade punchlines like a wired stand-up. The other slices reputations with the precision of a sushi chef settling old scores. Alone, either can flatten fragile egos. Together, they form a PR asteroid aimed straight at the legend of Robert De Niro, self-anointed prophet of politics. This wasn't a coordinated ambush, just shared exhaustion. A mutual eye roll at an emperor not merely unclothed but sprinting through award galas with a bullhorn, berating traffic. De Niro has devolved into parody, thunder without lightning, noise disguising itself as noble resistance. Greg and Megyn needed no shovel. His downfall performed itself like bargain bin Shakespeare. Fewer soliloquies, more shouting at invisible antagonists. Pulling back the velvet curtain revealed not a cultural titan but a man who once dominated the silver screen yet now can't string together a coherent thought. Gutfeld framed him as a boomer YouTuber lost on Twitter, furiously retweeting until the exit key vanished. Kelly dissected him like a rejected thesis in a grad seminar. Too loud, too scattered, too steeped in self-importance. Their verdict wasn't hostility, it was bewilderment. How does a master craftsman become that agitated figure scrolling across news tickers, a sentient Facebook comment begging for likes? The metamorphosis is tragic, comic, and oddly instructive for Hollywood.